Welcome to Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to live, laugh, and learn to love all of life's little messes. While I am a licensed clinician, please keep in mind that this show is not a substitute for your own relationship with a mental health provider. Let's go. Hey everybody, my name is Latrice Sampson Richards, and welcome to episode 54 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in as usual. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I hope your holiday was really good. You know, this was, so I spent Thanksgiving, obviously I'm still in Germany or whatever. And so I spent Thanksgiving over at a new friend's house. And I really like her. I had a really good time with her and her husband. I mean, we had a house full of people there, to be honest. Like a little bit of everybody came through there. Listen, one of her friends made some macaroni and cheese. God, that macaroni and cheese was so good. I really enjoyed it. We had a really good time. I was in an area of Germany known as K-Town, which is nearby one of the military bases, but it's not on base. And so I ended up actually, I already knew I was going to stay Thanksgiving night because, you know, she just wanted me to be able to have a good time without having to worry about getting back on the road because it's about 2 hours from where I live currently. But I actually ended up staying way longer than I should have. And, you know, but I really had a good time. I really did. So I'm so grateful that I got a chance to, you know, spend the holiday or spend Thanksgiving with, some new friends and things like that. And it felt like I was at home though, you know, like, you know how when you get around people and everybody is just kind of vibing. We played spades and stuff like that. We had some younger kids, not kids. They're not kids because they grown people. I'm not calling y'all kids. I apologize if y'all listening, but there are some younger adults. I feel like I'm getting old, but I'm really not. Like, I'm 36 years old. Like, I feel like, but they probably, I would say in like their early 20s. So to me, it's kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, because what y'all not going to do is make me feel old out here. That's really what's not about to happen. But, so anyway, we was playing spades or whatever with them. And, you know, they was trying to get it all figured out. They was playing with some seasoned spades veterans, you know. But it was a lot of shit talking. A good time was had, a lot of drinking, a lot of, you know, just, it was a nice time. I'm really glad that I went there, and spent the holiday with her and her family and got to meet all of her friends and things like that. So I had a really good time. We went to do a little bit of shopping and things like that. You know, it kind of was like a double-edged sword because I had a whole lot of work that I needed to get done. But I really have been craving like those kinds of interactions and things like that. And, you know, so it was a double-edged sword because on the one hand, I was glad to finally be able to get some interaction and downtime and girl talk and, you know, just hanging around with Black folk and stuff like that. Like, I really enjoyed being able to do that. But at the same time, I had work to do, but it was a healthy distraction, I think, because for some reason I was really struggling to get, just to get those things accomplished, you know. I don't know. My headspace has been a little thrown off. And so I've been trying to, you know, get that back on track. But I think a big part of it for me is recognizing my limitations, you know. And so today we're kind of going to be talking about that to a certain extent. Our topic for today is 5 tips to kick the holiday blues. And we're talking about, you know, just the struggles that we go through during the holiday times that a lot of us, you know, are ashamed or afraid to acknowledge that we're struggling. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But I don't think my struggle necessarily came from the holiday period, but a lot of the principles I think are the same. Being away from my family, I feel like I miss out on a lot of things and stuff like that. You know, there's upsides and downsides, I think, to living and traveling abroad, because y'all know I've been making a push for y'all to travel the world as much as you can, and I firmly do believe in that. Like I really believe that I want to see more Black people get out there and see the world, and people of color, like, to get out there and see the world and see what the world has to offer us. But I also have to be honest and realistic with y'all about the downside of it, which is that sometimes it does get a little lonely. It is easier when you have a life, like wherever it is that you are, when you have a life. And that's the hard part for me. I think that's the hardest part for me, because with my job, it's like they don't really want you to have a life, but that's just my job. My job is restrictive in that manner. But most of the jobs are not. Like, most of the jobs, you come over here and you over here, like you live over here. But my job is a transient kind of job. And so they don't really want us making too many attachments, because it makes it more difficult for us to be able to operate independently. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come out here with your, and create a life for yourself, or bring your family, bring your husband, bring your wife, bring your kids, whatever it might be, and have your family to come visit, then, living abroad specifically is an amazing, amazing thing, so yeah. So anyway, I had a really good Thanksgiving this weekend, actually on Sunday, I think it is. I need to double check, but I will be participating in a roundtable discussion on the Black Expats Around the World Facebook group. And I'm really looking forward to that. The group is free, y'all. Go ahead and join the group if you currently live abroad, or if you have any interest in living or traveling abroad. It's an amazing group to be a part of. Tasha Wiley is she's the founder of the group, and she's trying to grow it and build it. And she provides a lot of really great information about both sides of the coin, and making sure that anybody who's interested in traveling abroad can get a clear picture of what it could or could not, possibly be like. And so I'm excited to be participating in that roundtable discussion this weekend. So y'all definitely look in the show notes and be on the lookout for that. What else? If you have not already, make sure that you rate, subscribe, and comment on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you're listening right now. I would greatly appreciate it. You can use the hashtag Unicorns Talk Pod across all of your social media to holla at your girl or whatever. You dig? Holla at your girl. Okay. All right. So, this time of year is affectionately known as the holidays. And so for many of us, the holidays are a time of happiness and joy and excitement and thankfulness, but for some of us, instead of it being the most wonderful time of the year, it can be dreaded and uncomfortable, right? And so this is known as the holiday blues. So symptoms of the holiday blues vary from person to person, but most commonly they include fatigue, depression, headaches, inability to sleep, or excessive sleepiness. I can't get out the bed. Listen, that is a struggle. That is a struggle, bitch. For real. Anxiety and an overall feeling of sadness, just kind of in general, there's a lot of factors that can contribute to the onset of the holiday blues. Like losing a loved one. Like for some of us, this is our first holiday season without our loved one or something like that. Or maybe, maybe it wasn't like a literal death. It could have been a figurative death. Maybe this is the first holiday season since our divorce. This is the first holiday season since our breakup. Whatever it might be. And for some people, it might be financial troubles. Financial troubles are a huge piece of this. Increased levels of stress, which a lot of times both of those, the financial troubles and the increased levels of stress, can be due to to the holidays themselves, because there's so much pressure for people to be, just doing extra during this time of year. And so it can be difficult. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. So this can be a very difficult time for those of us who don't have the coping skills that we need in order to deal with all of the things that the holidays can bring. And so today I want to give y'all some tips on how you can prevent and manage those holiday blues so you can experience the joys of life. So I want y'all to really enjoy your holiday season. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do that. All right. So I have 5 tips for you. The first tip is to set realistic expectations. Now, how many times y'all done heard me say this? If you listen to my show on a regular basis, then you have heard me say this a gazillion times, right? It is important for us to be realistic about what we can and cannot handle. Point blank, period. We often, a lot of times we fail to establish reasonable goals for our time, our finances, and for our abilities, like especially during the holiday season, right? We take on way more than we can handle. We promise people that we're going to, we promise the people at the church that we're going to make a cake for the holiday bake sale. And we promise the kids that they're going to be able to get this gift and that gift and this gift and that gift. And we volunteering for this, we volunteering for that. Like, you don't have to say yes to everything. You have to make sure that you set realistic expectations for the things that you can and cannot do. Okay. And like realistic expectations for yourself, because when you have inappropriate expectations and those expectations are not met, then it can lead you to a slew of negative emotions, things like sadness, anger, frustration, and increased stress. Okay, because your expectations really inform the emotional sequence that you have as a result of the experience. So when you have inappropriate expectations to begin with, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay? And nobody wants to be feeling like that during the holidays. And don't nobody want to be around you feeling like that during the holidays. Okay. So make sure that you're being real with yourself. Setting appropriate expectations really allows us to be able to experience a higher sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. Because when we're able to meet and possibly even exceed those expectations, then we feel, like our confidence level is boosted. We feel like we have done something. We feel like we have accomplished something, and that's always a great, great place to find yourself. Okay. So set those expectations appropriately. If you don't have the money to do it, let them know you ain't got the money, girl. I'm sorry, boo. I can't do it. I don't have the monies. Okay. All right. The second tip is to make a list or 2. Now, I am a lister. Anybody who knows me in real life knows that I am a lister. I love a list. Sometimes I make lists about the list that I need to make. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that list making is one of life's little treasures, like for real, for real. It allows us to prioritize what needs to be done, and it helps us to create organization, which during the holiday season, organization is extremely important because you're being pulled in so many different directions. Okay. So you have to be able to have some level of organization as you move through everything that needs to happen. So take a few moments to sit down, iron out all of the details of the holiday season and everything that your family needs, and make sure that you keep it handy so you can have a quick reference. I keep a little notebook, like I got one of those little composition notebooks, and it's small. It's like palm size. It's super small, and it fits inside my purse, and I carry that with me everywhere that I go. But don't get it twisted. I am not above writing on the back of a receipt or on the back of an envelope or on the back of a tissue paper. It does not matter to me. A list is a list. Okay. So make sure that you write it down and you keep it with you so that as you get things accomplished, you can check them off of your list as you complete them. All right. And you get a great deal of satisfaction from watching that list that seemed like it was never ending really start to dwindle down, and your stress level goes down with it. Okay. So make a list, make sure that you get clarity. That way you don't miss nothing and you can see the progress taking place. Okay. The third tip is to make time for you. Okay. So there was a time, but way, way back in the day, when the holiday time was like a peaceful time and like a serene time, Like there used to be a period in our human existence, you know what I'm saying, where the holidays were sweet and calm, But those days are long gone. And so we're not like sitting by the fireside roasting marshmallows no more while we sipping on eggnog and shit like that, right? And so nowadays, with all of the sales and the responsibilities and everything that we have, obligated ourselves to doing because of the holiday season, things are a lot more fast paced. And so, it's extremely easy for us to get caught up in the holiday shuffle. You get what I'm saying? And so it's important for you to find time for self-care. And I know that this sounds really cliche. Everybody talks about self-care, but that's because, bitch, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real. It's a real thing. We need to be taking care of ourselves. I am, like I was saying earlier, like I've been, in a little funk or whatever because I'm out here by myself and stuff like that. And so this weekend I had a chance to engage in some self-care and I took that opportunity, But really all you need is about 10 or 15 minutes a day. Even if that, some of y'all might only need 10 to 15 minutes every other day or something like that, right? And so 10 to 15 minutes a day can give you the peace of mind and, it can just taking that me time, it can make a world of difference, right? You can use this time to gather your thoughts. You can use this time to throw them thoughts out the window, just be. Like, just exist, We find it most difficult to think of ourselves during this time. And so because, society has made us believe that everything if we think about ourselves, then we must be a horrible person or selfish to think about yourself, or like during the holiday time, it's supposed to be about everybody else. But the reality is that when you are the person that's responsible for making the holidays a success in your household, if you are not okay, then nobody is okay. Point blank, period. And so this makes your well-being a top priority. Okay? So take some time to secure your most valuable asset, which is your sanity. Trust me, boo. Your family will thank you for it. I promise. Okay? So make time for you. The fourth tip that I have for you is to be present and start something new. Be present and start something new. So one of the most difficult things for us to manage during the holidays can be some of the memories of past traditions, right? Or like memories of loved ones who's no longer with us, things like that. And so it can be really helpful to briefly and affectionately look back on the happy moments that we had, at one time or that we once experienced. But at a certain point, it can become counterproductive when you start to dwell on them in a yearning fashion. Now, listen, I am all about allowing yourself to have your grieving period. I was actually just talking to somebody today, a coworker today, about making sure that he allows himself to grieve. I feel like people always trying to rush us through our grieving process, but we need that process. That time, allows us to really be able to heal appropriately from a loss. I get that and I understand that, okay? However, you cannot allow yourself to get lost in that place, okay? Because it's real easy to do so, especially during the holiday season. All right? Being present and in the moment, it allows us to fully experience the warmth and the love that currently surrounds us. We spend so much time yearning for and really mourning the loss of love that used to be, that's no longer there, that we don't even realize and appreciate the love that's still here. You still have love surrounding you. And it's not fair to that love for you to refuse to receive it. Okay? Each year brings us a new opportunity to create new traditions, right? And to make sure that the people who are still here with us know just how much we love them. Okay? So focus on making new memories that you and your family will be able to cherish for years to come. All right, be present. The fifth and final tip that I have for y'all today is to know your limitations. Probably the most important thing that you can do in maneuvering yourself throughout this holiday season is to ask for help when you damn need it, But it can also be the most difficult thing to do, and I understand that as well. But good leaders know how to delegate responsibility. All right. So getting everybody involved in the holiday planning, it gives you a chance to take a breath, even if it's only for a moment. So what if Auntie so-and-so all she could do is make the salad? That's one less thing you got to make. Know your limitations, do what you can. And the things that you don't absolutely have to do, get somebody else to do that. Delegate those responsibilities. Know your limitations. It definitely goes hand in hand with the setting appropriate expectations. Okay? And so, it makes sure, like when you get other people involved, it ensures that the people that you're running yourself crazy for also have some stake in the festivities, because if they prepared a few things or if they participated in some way, then it's less likely that they're going to take it for granted. When you do everything for people, especially around the holidays, you're in the kitchen slaving over the stove and shit like that, and they don't even say, girl, this macaroni good or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So when you get them involved and let them do some things, because you can't do everything, right? It helps them to take a little bit more responsibility and feel proud of their success in making that day happen as well. And for those of us who are control freaks, assign some of the smaller tasks to the people who are not as dependable. Okay? Because like I said, Auntie so-and-so, it's hard to mess up a salad, girl. It's hard to mess up a salad. Okay? But that's one less thing that you have to do. All right? Know your limitations. Know what you can and cannot handle. And whatever you cannot do, you need to get somebody else to do it. All right? Even if it's something like letting somebody else wrap your presents. Like, they have gift wrapping services now. Or like you can take it to the mall or something like that. Like wrapping gifts take a while. And that's not something that you absolutely have to do. It might be worth the little $20 to get somebody to wrap those gifts. You get what I'm saying? Know your limitations, all right? Making it through the holiday, it doesn't have to be like so difficult. Like it doesn't have to be as hard as it seems. And so following these tips can really help you to not only avoid the holiday blues, but you might actually be able to enjoy yourself in the process, all right? And at the end of the day, isn't that what all the fuss is about anyway? Isn't that why you're doing everything that you're doing? It's to enjoy and be merry and love your family and all that good stuff. Yeah, right? So that's all I got for y'all today. I hope that you take these tips into consideration and apply them. I want to hear from you. Let me know how your holidays are going. Let me know how you feel about, taking the time, and do you utilize any of these tips and things like that? I can't wait to hear from y'all. Coming up next is High Five. All right, so today's High Five and reality check really kind of go hand in hand, okay? So, to start off with the high five, I want to give a huge high five to What's Happening Super, also known as Raynell Stewart. That's her government name. She is the founder and CEO of the Crayon Case Cosmetics line. And I've been following her for a while. She is born and raised in New Orleans. And, I'm really proud of her as a fellow New Orleanian, but just as a woman in general, a black woman out there, following her dreams. And she literally made something from nothing. You know what I'm saying? This Monday was Cyber Monday, and she posted on Instagram that she made $1 million from her Cyber Monday sale in like an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? And she posted a video where she was crying and just really feeling full and overwhelmed and blessed and, like overwhelmed in a good way. You know what I'm saying? And I can't even, like, how when you see somebody experiencing something and you feel it like in your body, you feel like the emotion that they have. Like that's how it felt for me. Like I really almost dropped a tear for that girl because I could tell how important it was to her. She said that her goal was to make $1 million over the course of the whole weekend, but she ended up making that like in literally in 90 days. I mean, 90 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, high five to Super and the Crayon Case because you are really an inspiration to myself personally, but to a lot of young black women that are out here and they're struggling. I mean, this girl she really come from nothing, and she talks about how she come from nothing, like she never had shit, you know what I'm saying? And she got out there and she built something from the ground up. She started out as a social media influencer, and she just continued to build her brand from there. She got into makeup and things like that, and then she launched the Crayon Case and it took off. And so I just want to give a high five to Super for just, doing the damn thing or whatever. You are definitely inspiration to myself and to a bunch of other women, black women in particular, that I know, and I just want everything to happen for you. She's pregnant now. She's engaged. They just moved into a house. Like, this is her season, and things are really working in her favor right now. And so, high five for that. Now, the reality check portion is connected to that as well. And I just want to give y'all a little disclaimer real quick. This is about to be real, real, real New Orleans. I'm just putting it out there. This is going to be real New Orleans. Some of these references you may not really understand if you're not from New Orleans, but Google it or whatever, okay? So, like I said, Super posted on Instagram that she made $1 million from her Cyber Monday sale in 90 minutes. And so pretty much the entire internet was happy for her and rooting for her and being very supportive of her and cheering her on, except for one person, Monster with the Fade. Let me tell you, if you know who Monster is, then you know who Monster is. You know what I'm saying? If you're from New Orleans, you know who Monster is. Monster is, I don't really even know how to describe Monster, to be honest. And he's a dancer. And, he did a song in New Orleans, a bounce song called Hut Hut. And while it was a big hit, don't get it twisted. Hut Hut goes hard. Hut Hut still go hard. To this day, if you throw Hut Hut on at a wedding, at a baptism party, at a funeral reception, whatever it is, girl, let me tell you, you hear that, make that booty go hut hut hut, or somebody's getting on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Hut Hut was a really good song, but Hut Hut is a very New Orleans song, like it never really, to my understanding, it never really like broke out of the general region, maybe a little to Texas or Atlanta for sure, like where there's scores of New Orleans people. But Monster I really, over the last couple of years, I have not been a fan of Monster at all because he does these things where, like, he gets on Facebook Live or something like that, and he just talks about all kind of stuff. A couple of years ago, he went on this whole rant about Sissy Bounce and, Big Freedom and putting people business out in the street and everything like that, and like, so he decided to take it upon himself to get on. I think it was a Facebook Live, and I think one of my friends said it was like 3 hours long. Because what I'm not about to do is listen to Monster for no 3 hours with that ignorant ass lisp, okay? But he's saying like, Super is lying about making $1 million in 90 minutes, that it ain't no way she could do that. Like, he make more money than her, and like he's more popular than her, and all of this other bullshit. And so, that made me think, because Monster is not the only person, I'm sure, that's hating on Soup, or that is not wanting to see her achieve and to see her succeed. But the thing that gets me about Monster is that he always talking about how people from New Orleans don't support each other, which I agree with to a certain extent. I'm not even going to lie. It is hard to build a business in New Orleans as a New Orleanian. Now, an outsider could come in there and build something in a heartbeat. And I don't really know why that is, but it is, it's hard to build a business in New Orleans as a New Orleanian. And so I get what he's saying from that extent, but he's always saying it from the point of, we need to be more supportive of each other, and people from New Orleans need to support our own, and this, that, and the other. But then the chance, when you get an opportunity to support a fellow New Orleanian, to promote, to uplift, to pat on the back a fellow New Orleanian, instead of doing that, you get on Facebook Live talking shit about her. Now, the problem that I have with that is, one, who is you? Who is you? You ain't never made $1 million in your whole entire life, but you have something to say about Soup making $1 million in 90 minutes? Like, who are you? Who do you think you are that you can pass judgment on somebody behind something that you don't even understand and could never understand? Of course, it's not plausible to you that somebody could make $1 million in 90 minutes, because you ain't made $1 million in 19 years. You get what I'm saying? Or however many years that you've been in the game. So of course you can't think that big. There was never a question in my mind that Soup made that money. And that's because I have been following her. I've been watching her journey. She talks about her sales, her sales and things like that. She talks about her business model. She gives tips to other entrepreneurs. Like, she's a real businesswoman. You know what I'm saying? So that's that, that's my first issue, is like, who are you? But secondly, I think the issue that I have, or the thing that I want us to pull from this, right, the reality check, I think the reality check is more for us than it is for him, right? And using him as an example, there will be people in your life that on one side of their mouth, they talk about how proud of you they are, and we need to support Black-owned businesses and this, that, and the other. But then out of the other side of their mouth, they are talking ill of your name. And you need to be able to do two things. One, recognize real shit from bullshit. You have to. It took me a long time to be able to recognize, in business I'm talking about, and you know what, and in real life, it took me a long time to be able to recognize real shit from bullshit. That's first and foremost. And secondly, you have to be able to let that shit roll off your back and move on. You have to. Because the reality is that those people are always going to be that way. And because they're always going to be that way, they are never going to be a threat to you. Hello? Because they are not able to grow and prosper because they live in a place of negativity. Get what I'm saying? One of the foundational principles of the law of attraction is that you must vibrate at a higher frequency. If you are trying to pull in higher frequency shit, you need to vibrate at that frequency. And when you cannot find anything good to say about somebody who is manifesting positivity in their lives, clearly you are not on that frequency. So they are never going to be a threat to you. And as such, they do not require your time or energy. Okay? So that's our reality check for today. And that's the show. That's all I got for y'all today. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Make sure that you join my Facebook group, Trust Village, a safe space for healing and manifestation. I really would love to see you. I'm going to be starting up my YouTube page after the new year. And so that's going to be really awesome and amazing. I'm really looking forward to that, y'all. Like, for real, for real. I've already started recording a few videos for it and things like that. So that's going to be real good. I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you go online and get your Unicorns Talk podcast t-shirts. Make sure that, you support or whatever. When you get your shirt, wear your shirt and tag me in it at hashtag Unicorns Talk Pod and UTP swag, and let me know that you got your shirt or whatever. Okay? All right. I think that's all I got for y'all today. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.